At 52, Rachel Maddow has become a household name, a voice people turn to when the world feels uncertain. But behind the calm authority, behind the sharp wit and fearless reporting, lies a story rarely seen. Not everyone knows that long before she commanded primetime audiences, Rachel carried burdens that could have broken anyone. A childhood filled with struggles quietly shaped her resilience. Moments of loss and personal battles whispered in the shadows of her public life. She learned early that strength often comes from surviving what others might never endure. Yet fame did not shield her. Challenges continued to arrive in waves of personal disappointments, private losses, and the quiet weight of expectations that never let up. Even as viewers saw her confidence on screen, her heart carried fractures invisible to the world. Time and again, she faced moments where the spotlight could not heal the private pain. And now, at this point in her life, the story takes a turn to a chapter more heartbreaking than ever before. It is a truth that few dare to speak openly. Stay with us, because in the next moments, we reveal the full story behind Rachel Maddow's silent struggles, the heartbreak that shaped her, and the truth that will leave you stunned. Personal tragedies. Despite reaching professional heights that many could only dream of, Rachel Maddow's personal life was punctuated by profound challenges and heartbreaking losses. Success, fame, and recognition did little to shield her from life's harsher realities. Behind the calm, measured delivery that millions admired on screen lay years of private grief, silent suffering, and emotional battles fought far from the public eye. Family challenges often cast long shadows over her personal life. Estrangements with loved ones, disagreements that could not easily be reconciled, and moments of isolation created an emotional landscape as demanding as any newsroom deadline. The death of close friends and cherished mentors left spaces that could not easily be filled, bringing with it not just sorrow, but a profound sense of impermanence and vulnerability. Each loss, each heartbreak, added layers of weight, shaping not only her character but her perspective on life, love, and the responsibilities she carried. Health concerns also contributed to these periods of difficulty. The relentless pace of her career, combined with the emotional strain of personal tragedies, took a toll on her physical and mental well-being. Stress, fatigue, and the pressure of maintaining composure in the public eye made coping with private hardships all the more challenging. The reality of grief is often complicated, but for Maddow, it was magnified by the constant scrutiny of audiences, critics, and media commentators. Moments that might have been private contemplations for anyone else became stories to be dissected, analyzed, or speculated upon. This blurring of personal and public life added another dimension to her struggles, demanding resilience, patience, and a capacity for quiet endurance that few could fully appreciate. What made these tragedies particularly poignant was how they intersected with her professional life. Even as the world watched her articulate breaking news, investigate injustices, and guide millions through crises, Maddow navigated her own moments of despair with remarkable composure. There were days when grief threatened to overwhelm her, when the pain of loss and the weight of expectations seemed impossible to balance. Yet, she found ways to compartmentalize, to channel her emotions into the work she felt compelled to continue. In doing so, she transformed personal suffering into empathy, bringing a deeper understanding and humanity to the stories she shared with the public. Her ability to remain steadfast and focused, even amidst tragedy, is a testament not just to professionalism, but to an extraordinary inner strength. The impact of these personal tragedies rippled beyond Maddow herself. Friends, colleagues, and family members witnessed the toll that grief took, often in silence, offering support while respecting her need for privacy. Her struggles were not dramatized for attention. They were endured with quiet dignity. This combination of vulnerability and resilience became part of the fabric of her character, influencing the way she approached relationships, work, and public responsibility. Even as she achieved unprecedented success, these experiences served as reminders that life does not pause for accolades or accomplishments. Pain, loss, and hardship are universal, touching even those whose lives appear most polished or controlled from the outside. Moreover, these challenges shaped her voice as a journalist and public figure. Rachel Maddow's empathy, thoughtfulness, and nuanced perspective are inseparable from the personal hardships she endured. Each moment of grief deepened her ability to connect with others, to see the human side of news, and to approach stories with a sensitivity that resonates with audiences. Her resilience became a quiet inspiration, a reminder that strength is not the absence of suffering, but the capacity to continue, to find meaning, and to create purpose even when life feels unbearably heavy. In the end, Maddow's personal tragedies are more than mere footnotes in her biography. They are central to understanding the depth of her character, the scope of her perseverance, and the humanity behind the public persona. The losses, health struggles, and emotional trials she faced did not diminish her achievements. They amplified them, illustrating a life of extraordinary commitment to both craft and conscience. Through it all, Rachel Maddow endured, showing that behind every public triumph lies a personal story of resilience, courage, and quiet strength. A testament to the reality that even the most admired figures bear burdens unseen by the world, yet carry them with remarkable grace. Peak career achievements. As Rachel Maddow's reach grew, so did the weight of expectation that rested on her shoulders. Millions tuned in nightly, not just for the news, but for clarity, insight, and the calm authority she projected through the screen. Every episode carried the expectation of precision, depth, and engagement. What viewers often saw as effortless commentary was, in reality, the product of countless hours of meticulous preparation. Research alone could take days, reading reports, analyzing data, cross-checking sources, and ensuring that every statement was accurate and balanced. Interviews had to be thoughtfully prepared, questions carefully crafted, and follow-ups considered in advance. The emotional labor involved in digesting complex, sometimes tragic stories often left her drained before the cameras even began rolling. Sleep became a secondary concern. Meals were hurried or skipped, and the quiet moments of rest were few and far between. Yet, Maddow carried herself with remarkable professionalism, navigating every challenge with composure and intellect, ensuring that millions of viewers were guided through often chaotic or confusing events with clarity and confidence. Recognition followed naturally from such dedication. Awards, critical acclaim, and professional accolades came in abundance, celebrating not only her skill, but also the courage and tenacity she brought to every story. Viewers admired her insight, colleagues respected her work ethic, and critics acknowledged her ability to make difficult topics accessible and meaningful. Yet behind the accolades lay a less visible cost. The mental and physical toll of such a relentless pace accumulated quietly. Long hours in the studio, often well into the night, were paired with constant engagement with breaking news and sensitive topics that required careful consideration. There were moments of emotional strain when few could fully understand the stress of reporting on tragedies, navigating controversies, and maintaining a voice that was both honest and reassuring. The pressure to remain consistently accurate, calm, and compelling added layers of fatigue that were largely unseen by the public eye. Beyond the studio lights, Rachel's commitment required sacrifices that extended into her personal life. The balance between work and private time was fragile, and sometimes professional obligations left little room for rest, reflection, or connection with family and friends. Her dedication became both her hallmark and her challenge. The very drive that inspired millions also carried the weight of unrelenting responsibility. Each broadcast, each carefully considered segment, was more than a performance. It was a battle against exhaustion, scrutiny, and the demands of a world that expected her unwavering presence. Despite the strain, Maddow continued to excel, a testament to her resilience and focus. Her peak achievements were not just defined by the accolades or ratings, but by the consistency and integrity she maintained under pressure. Every story she delivered, every investigation she led, reflected a blend of intellect, empathy, and tireless effort. And while the audience celebrated the successes they could see, the sacrifices and silent struggles behind the camera were an equally profound part of her journey. Reminders that even the brightest moments of achievement are often built on quiet endurance, personal compromise, and extraordinary determination. Her career at its height was a portrait of dedication, skill, and perseverance, a story of relentless pursuit of excellence, often at great personal cost. Yet, through it all, Maddow remained focused, resilient, and deeply human, showing that true achievement is never without its hidden trials, and that the path to greatness is as demanding as it is inspiring. Career beginnings and breakthrough. Rachel Maddow's entry into journalism was far from a straightforward journey. Unlike the stories often told about overnight success, hers was built on years of small, painstaking steps, moments of doubt, and lessons learned the hard way. In her early days, she worked tirelessly in local radio stations and minor networks, taking jobs that demanded long hours and offered little recognition. These initial experiences were humbling, forcing her to confront the reality that talent alone could not secure her ambitions. Rejection letters arrived frequently. Opportunities she had hoped for slipped through her fingers, and nights were often spent wrestling with uncertainty and self-doubt. There were times when the frustration of being overlooked felt crushing, yet these moments also reinforced a quiet resilience. Rachel understood early that journalism was not merely about speaking into a microphone or reporting facts. It was about perseverance, integrity, and the relentless pursuit of truth, even when the path forward seemed uncertain. Her commitment to growth and learning became evident as she navigated each opportunity, no matter how modest. Every segment she produced, every interview she conducted, became a training ground for her skills. She honed her ability to research thoroughly, ask incisive questions, and communicate complex topics with clarity. Each small success, each positive critique from a mentor or listener, was a building block in her evolving craft. Yet, for all the progress she made, the pressures were never absent. The tension between ambition and reality, between private struggles and public expectations, was a constant companion. She juggled personal challenges, moments of isolation, and the ever-present fear that her efforts might not lead to recognition, all while striving to maintain a standard of excellence in her work. Gradually, the fruits of her persistence began to appear. What initially seemed like incremental gains accumulated into a reputation for credibility, insight, and fearless reporting. Her ability to navigate complex political and social issues with poise and intellect distinguished her from her peers. Invitations to higher-profile interviews and more prominent broadcasting slots followed, each one validating the countless hours of preparation and the emotional labor invested behind the scenes. Her breakthrough, though not sudden, was undeniable. It was a culmination of years of relentless dedication, careful observation, and the quiet endurance of setbacks that could have discouraged someone less determined. Even as her career took off, the juxtaposition of public acclaim and private challenges remained. Each early victory was accompanied by the lingering pressures of rising expectations and the personal obstacles she continued to navigate. Behind every broadcast, every analytical segment, lay a mind balancing the weight of professional responsibility with private uncertainties. The very qualities that made her exceptional, her attention to detail, her empathy, and her intellectual rigor, were forged through these struggles, both personal and professional. These formative years were instrumental in shaping the journalist and public figure she would become. They taught her patience, resilience, and the value of meticulous preparation. They instilled in her a respect for the craft, an understanding that credibility and authority must be earned over time, and a recognition that true success is rarely instantaneous. For Maddow, these early experiences were more than career milestones. They were character lessons, shaping a person capable of navigating the pressures of public life while maintaining a deeply grounded sense of self. In hindsight, Rachel Maddow's beginnings were not merely steps on a ladder, they were the foundation of a career defined by integrity, insight, and courage. Each rejection, each overlooked opportunity, and each night of doubt contributed to the journalist who could command a national audience with authority and empathy. Her story during this period serves as a testament to the power of perseverance, the quiet strength needed to endure setbacks, and the unwavering dedication required to transform potential into lasting achievement. It was through these early challenges that Rachel learned that success in journalism, as in life, is never about shortcuts. It is about resilience, continuous learning, and an unyielding commitment to truth, no matter the obstacles faced along the way. Childhood and early struggles. Rachel Maddow's early life was a quiet battlefield, a series of small struggles that shaped the person she would become. Growing up in a household where resources were always scarce, she quickly learned that each day demanded creativity, patience, and adaptability. The walls of her home, though filled with care, often echoed with tension, and the responsibility of understanding her family's struggles came earlier than it might for most children. Even as a young girl, Rachel felt the weight of expectations, both spoken and unspoken, learning early that life rarely offered clear answers or easy paths. Simple joys like carefree play or uninterrupted rest were rare, and yet she found ways to carve meaning and stability in small moments, whether through books, music, or quiet reflection. Each hardship instilled in her a sense of determination, an understanding that resilience was not optional, but necessary. School presented another arena of challenge. While other children navigated friendships and routines with relative ease, Rachel was learning lessons about observation, patience, and self-reliance. Teachers noticed her intelligence, but they could not see the emotional labor she carried daily. From navigating social pressures to balancing academic responsibilities with personal burdens, she was developing skills that would later become essential in her journalism career. Keen perception, empathy, and the ability to understand complex human emotions. Her early life was as much about learning how to adapt as it was about learning facts or subjects. The world outside her home mirrored the quiet unpredictability she had already experienced. Family dynamics added another layer of complexity. Emotional distances, disagreements, and the absence of consistent support systems meant that Rachel often had to rely on her own strength. She learned to find stability in routines she created for herself, to discover joy in the small victories that others might overlook. Moments of loss, whether of time, attention, or opportunities taught her patience and the value of perseverance. Even the challenges that seemed minor at the time, like overcoming shyness or handling criticism, became building blocks for a resilience that would let each setback, each disappointment, quietly molded her character, giving her the capacity to face larger adversities with calm and determination. Her childhood struggles were not just about survival, they were about shaping a mindset. Rachel's ability to observe quietly, to listen deeply, and to process emotions thoughtfully came from years of navigating spaces where she had to rely on her intellect and intuition. The early scarcity of resources, the emotional complexities at home, and the occasional sense of isolation all contributed to a mind capable of analyzing situations with clarity and compassion. These formative experiences provided the scaffolding for the voice she would eventually project to millions, a voice that carried authority, empathy, and understanding. Even in those early years, it became clear that Rachel Maddow's life was a story of persistence. The lessons learned in her childhood, the importance of focus, the strength found in silence, and the courage to continue despite setbacks echoed throughout her adult life. Each struggle, though often hidden from public view, planted seeds of resilience that would later allow her to navigate the pressures of fame, professional responsibility, and personal tragedy. Her early life, filled with quiet battles and hard-won wisdom, was the foundation upon which her extraordinary journey would be built. Reflection and legacy. Now, as Rachel Maddow moves forward in life and career, her story reflects far more than just professional achievements or public recognition. It is, at its core, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, the kind of quiet, unwavering strength that carries a person through challenges both visible and unseen. Throughout her life, she has faced obstacles that would have deterred many: personal loss, the pressures of a public career, and moments of profound doubt. Yet, through all of this, she has maintained a commitment to integrity, to truth, and to the values that have defined her work from the very beginning. Each experience, each hardship, has not only shaped her character, but has also contributed to a legacy that goes beyond awards, ratings, and accolades. It is a legacy built in the small, often unseen moments, the late nights of preparation, the careful research, the empathy extended to those whose stories she tells, and the resilience shown when grief or fatigue threaten to overwhelm. Her influence today extends far beyond the confines of the studio. Rachel continues to shape public discourse, guiding millions of viewers through complex social and political narratives with clarity and insight. She demonstrates that journalism is not merely about reporting facts, but about helping people understand the world, contextualizing events, and highlighting the human dimensions of news. This ability to connect deeply with an audience, to provide thoughtful analysis without losing compassion or humanity, is part of the enduring mark she leaves on the profession. Her work inspires others not only to stay informed but also to approach life with curiosity, empathy, and a commitment to understanding perspectives beyond their own. But Rachel Maddow's legacy is not measured solely in professional milestones. It lies equally in the way she has faced personal challenges, how she has carried the lessons of hardship, and transformed them into sources of strength and wisdom. Every setback, every loss, and every private struggle has contributed to a persona that balances authority with humanity, intellect with compassion. Her journey demonstrates that true impact is not created only by visibility or accolades, but by the courage to confront difficulties head-on, with dignity, patience, and moral clarity. It is this quiet, often unseen dimension of her story that resonates most powerfully. reminding viewers that perseverance and resilience are not abstract ideals, but lived experiences. Looking back, her path serves as a powerful reminder that legacy is not merely about the applause of the present, but the influence left on the hearts, minds, and lives of those who witness it. Rachel Maddow's story is proof that public figures, despite their fame, endure struggles that shape them profoundly, and it is precisely this human depth that amplifies her achievements. Her life exemplifies how personal strength, coupled with professional dedication, creates an enduring influence that will continue to guide and inspire long after specific episodes or headlines fade from memory. Ultimately, Rachel Maddow's reflection and legacy are inseparable from the lessons she embodies. Resilience in the face of adversity, commitment to truth, and the courage to remain grounded even amidst fame, scrutiny, and personal trials. She shows that a life well lived is one that balances visibility with authenticity, intellect with empathy, and success with quiet reflection. Her journey leaves an indelible mark not only on the world of journalism, but on anyone seeking inspiration from the power of determination, integrity, and the human capacity to rise above hardship while maintaining dignity. Her story is not simply a record of achievement, it is a blueprint for enduring strength, compassion, and the profound impact one life can have on many. Rachel Maddow's journey is far more than headlines and television ratings. It is a story of resilience, heartbreak, and the power to rise above challenges that would overwhelm many. From the quiet struggles of her childhood to the pressures of professional excellence and the personal losses she endured along the way, every step of her life reflects a profound determination to persevere. Today, Rachel continues to inform, inspire, and connect with audiences nationwide. Her life reminds us that the absence of struggle does not measure true strength, but by the ability to navigate it with grace. Each segment she hosts, each story she tells, carries the weight of her experiences and the wisdom gained through hardship. If her story moved you, leave a like to honor her journey, subscribe for more revealing narratives, and comment to share your thoughts on her incredible resilience. Stay connected as we continue to uncover the human stories behind the faces we admire. Rachel Maddow's life is a reminder that even in the darkest moments, strength, hope, and courage can guide us forward, shaping not only our destiny, but inspiring generations to come.